Hello, I am Robert Sterling Price of Lyra City, Missouri, and I'm building a futurist, functionless public starship industry that will start out as a $3 trillion IPO, initial public offering. Okay, in today's video, I'll probably go into MH370, assassinations, and maybe a general extraterrestrial warfare that could most likely be happening around planet Earth. All right. So my take on MH370. They got the video obviously from the drones and various sources. But what is most likely happening from my educated perspective is that there's an extraterrestrial artillery piece that shoots the plane with densified non-polar matter. This overexcites the lithium-ion batteries on board and starts a fire. The pilot begins to evade and over the Cirrus matter, and then the three orbs to begin an automatic pursuit. The three orbs are extraterrestrial Imperial hard mass drones. They're basically a machine that energizes and densifies and emits particles. It densifies the base raw matter, which is highly transparent, structured, inert, non-particle matter. And this will smash the space fabric and it'll push out all the particles, so you get forces going faster than light, trillions of times the speed of light. And these systems will automatically go to the source, the densified source of the base raw matter. And there are videos of Chernobyl as a UFO begins to touch or suck out the base raw matter, weighing down the reaction in Chernobyl and various other nuclear sites. This happens all the time. The base raw matter is the key to every single extraterrestrial event. So, what made this extraterrestrial event occur, MH370? Most likely, it is a result of dimensionalized extraterrestrial communications, and 100% global espionage by the extraterrestrials upon the human race. They knew who was on board, what was on board, and how to deal with a problem. Basically, the overwhelming problem was that these scientists are the one spy on board. It could be just this one guy. Was going to take the discovery of the base raw matter with the help of these people to the Chinese Communist Party. And the extraterrestrials interdicted that. And now, I can say with there's the Rip Base Fabric Will Spiner, the first thing that the CIA did with the discovery of the base raw matter was create a highly transparent ripped base fabric plastic spy gear, which was 2 weeks before Bill Clinton left office. The Fat British spy people, known as Satan's Army, gave the CIA ripped base fabric plastic spy gear. And uncontrollable government organizations, the CIA. Congress cannot control the CIA. They never have, they never will. They mass produced what I say is $9 trillion of my stolen ripped base fabric plastic spy gear, incapacitated the world, and planted it in every human on Earth. In a single trillionth second, you could possibly die or have your mind altered, your organs ran incorrectly backwards, because this can emit computer structured space fabric into the human body, or rip apart the space fabric and create a catastrophic destruction of the person. It can do it worldwide in trillions of a second. Is that a crime? It's a major problem. This is why we got to build a miniaturized starship and free people from the tyranny of other people. And And this is why everything is slated till after the production of the miniaturized Starship. Any government operation to go out there and face the battlefield, we first have to get the human race where it can move from point A to point B in the universe freely as can be without the government triggering an automatic alien imperial response of total destruction on planet Earth. The only thing that threatens the alien empire is the literal densification of the base world of matter. Okay? So, going to assassinations. The first time that I known to been almost assassinated, which I wasn't the first time, but it's like, so I cussed out the CIA as a little boy and got the collapse of the Soviet Union and started that. And I sounded like a mean old man. I was a little kid on the spy network, right? And I deceived them, and I acted meaner than their mentality would allow, that Reagan mentality. And I pushed them to collapsing the Soviet Union. And they had to go through the Bible and see if communism and socialism was wrong and all that. And they, yeah, it was. So they launched an operation to collapse the Soviet Union. I would be the little kid that was connected to a spy. This guy, I can't remember who he is or what he is, but I know he's, you guys probably seen him before. But he called the guys to get off the Berlin Wall so the people, which were gathered up, to come and destroy the Berlin Wall. So I was a little kid connected to that guy that called the guards, and they collapsed the wall. They backed off the wall, and so they can collapse it or destroy it. So talk about Bill Clinton for a minute. So, all right, go back. So the first time after the collapse of the Soviet Union, they allowed, it's like a couple years, they finally organized the collapse of the Soviet Union, kind of got all in writing. And Bill Clinton is the idiot that gave Russia its nuclear weapons back. I made them leave them in Ukraine. I forced the Soviet Union to relinquish all power over its formerly held states and leave almost 80% of the nuclear weapons in Ukraine. Bill Clinton became my enemy when he literally gave them back to Russia. I was fighting him all the time, all right? So Bill Clinton did a thing. He got the FBI to implant people on mind control. Then the events in 1993 happened. The FBI only put veterans and criminals on mind control, and Bill Clinton was only concerned with the United States of America. After that, I forced Bill Clinton to balance the budget. I made him do health care, which he had no idea how to construct a bill to stop basically liberals from overcharging their customers, and that set the whole precedent of this Affordable Care Act being corrupt and just a waste of money. They still don't know how to write a bill to keep people from robbing the system right now. They still don't. And next, I want to say, so about 2 weeks before Bill Clinton left office, after he tried to get the FBI to use a old version of mind control, which they implanted in a few people, not everybody. The Fat spy people stole the Rip-based plastic spy gear. It's about happened in 2000, the discovery of the base world of matter, and the Fat spy people watched the creation of the Rip-based plastic spy gear and stole it like in 5 seconds and went around all that and gave it directly to the CIA for probably no money at all, literally. But $9 trillion of that spy gear was manufactured and planted in everybody on Earth. That's 2 weeks before he left. So I was such a pain in Bill Clinton's ass. And I told him, all right, during this administration, I don't know exactly when it was, but it wasn't the last several events or several weeks of his presidency, but I'm the person on the spy network that told him to go after the pedophiles. And he asked, my friend Donald Trump? And I said, especially Donald Trump. He had no idea who the hell I was. and then he calls Donald Trump, all right, and Donald Trump gives him a BJ, all right? And then on that same video that you have, Donald Trump and him are sitting in a room, and Donald Trump is explaining in the most forceful terms, I want you to find that guy. I want you to kill that guy. Not knowing. I mean, and he is very forceful at articulating that message to Bill Clinton. Donald Trump is getting that that message across. I want you to freaking kill him. Since he's really, really trying to get Bill Clinton in freaking extreme anger and hatred. And yeah, he's trying to get Donald Trump is trying to get the President Bill Clinton to kill the guy that they don't know. So, the second time that I've been close to assassination, so Bill Clinton, 2 days or a day before he left, I think his last day, that this spiner overheard him hire a government assassin, which went on to kill 22 Secret Service agents, I was told. And this came out about 10 years later. I learned about this. This spent 10 or more years later. And I don't know if it's actually happened or it's real, but there's some guy that actually told me that happened. And I was just a little kid to try to get them started going after the pedophiles, not knowing that Bill Clinton is an extreme pedophile just like Donald Trump. It's like, it came out, since this spy network was operating, like Bill Clinton and Donald Trump were racing on the Laredo Express. And Bill Clinton raped 119 children and threw out a plane, while Donald Trump raped 125 children and threw out a plane. And this will probably be blocked. But it's just word of mouth. And I've only seen one video of Donald Trump. I've never been able, with all this spy network capability, I'm the man who made human intelligence obsolete. With RIP-based rapid computing that look through a house or a computer while it's even off and spy on it just like if it was on. I made human intelligence gathering obsolete with RIP-based rapid technology, but I am not selling the CIA a RIP-based rapid global spy. The reason why we have this impediment is that this RIP-based rapid technology exists, and I refuse to sell the CIA something that can kill every human on Earth in a single trillion second. So it's me versus the CIA here. And so that's the second time that assassin came after me. Like the first time is after a couple years, the Soviet Union collapsed, and we finally allowed the Soviet Union to know what was going on and who the heck started the collapse. And they told them, oh, it's this young kid. And they came and looked at a spy exit point or something. And at the time, they couldn't kill a little bitty kid. They couldn't do that. They were, it's a dryer. Train of thought. So at the time, almost 2 years went by after the collapse of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union sent some spies, which were pretty formidable, bad spies, but they still had character enough to not to hurt a little young man, a little boy here. But I'm 40 now, so the first assassination by the Soviet Union attempted or didn't really do nothing. The second was possibly by Bill Clinton. But let's jump forward. So there's a lot of fucking problems and a lot of dead people out here in America by the government. So I'm the man that puts pressure. I can do anything cloak and dagger, but they won't respect me enough to lead the industry to an exponential subatomic revolution. I can do anything literally over a spy network. But they won't just respect me to look at me in the face and use my wisdom or anything. So I would be the person that got a Dish and a DirecTV made through a congressional action. I got them to make two companies at one time, Sirius and XM. I'm the person who got Bill Gates and to make Microsoft. I'm the kid that cussed out Bill Gates and allowed him, which I have witnesses, but they're still alive, I think, to steal $50 billion from me. And I made the richest man on earth, and I had to allow the internet to go and be taken in, which by all the people of the world, literally, until I get total exposure in my title of the World Wide Web, signed by Congress and all that stuff. And and so I got the data mining agencies made, and about 4 or 5 years they did what they're supposed to, just to spy on the people stealing the internet from me. But now I have no connection to them. I have nothing to do with them. And they started data mining people and selling their information. I have nothing to do with that. I have nothing to do with that. And so I'm just going to throw out a whole bunch of shit because it's a fucking mess. Sorry about the cuss words, I repent. And so Bill Clinton. So in 2004, or that time period, I'm the person to get the United States Congress to allow. Well, I told the government in general to expose UFOs. All right, and these people in the government had this 2004 naval instance. I'm the person who got that started exposure. But what happened is that I think they had to go around the Senate committee or the control of it, and they went around, exposed the video. They said it on the radio like twice. We made them put air this statement twice that they had exposed at the U.S. Navy 2004 Nimitz incident. I mean, they exposed it on the radio twice or something. But they had to go around the Senate committee or something. I think that's what happened. And the Senate committee, I think, got mad, all right? And the Senate, I'm not really sure. But so this group of people in Congress, this committee, I don't know which branch, which House or Representative or Senator, whatever, I'm not really sure. But they sent Marco Rubio to David Grush, and I think they sent him to my house. In 2004, at my high school graduation, I was poisoned with the dioxin. Well, anyway, it turns your face into a freaking red mushroom like the Ukrainian leader. That Ukrainian leader, that was, his face was all exploded and turned into like a tomato. That happened to me in my high school graduation. And I think my memory is pretty so bad, but I think I seen David Grush there. I don't know if he gave my mom some kind of tea or something that had some kind of poison in it or what, or if he came earlier or but I remember walking out of my home. I think it mean I'm not exactly sure. It's weeks apart or not, but anyway, I was poisoned at my high school graduation for that, and it's either for years went by. I thought it was the fat bearded spy people, Satan's army that actually went and got the terrorists for 9/11. I thought it was the Russian KGB. I thought it was just the CIA. I fought the CIA in the United States government for a long, long time. And they just poisoned me at my 2004 high school graduation. I about freaking died. So I blamed it on 4 people, but I just can't remember. I think they might have did it. The United States Congress did it, I think. So I think when I left my house wearing a white shirt, black tie, and slacks, or just for my high school graduation, I think I did see David Grush, or it could have been some weeks apart. I'm not sure, but he followed me to my school, and I think I had to go into just get ready for my graduation. I couldn't believe it. But anyway, I know I seen David Grush at my house, and I know that he took pictures of my house. It was my trailer, my parents' trailer house at the time, which is pretty run down. So I'm thinking it's this Senate committee poisoned me. I think they poisoned me. I think they sent. So the reason why I figured this out, because there's a RIP Space Fabric Global Spy Network, and the Superior is organizing all the intelligence, and I've seen that and injected into mind what Marco Rubio said to David Grush on those dates, and it's literally tracking him down and filling in the spots and holes of all the government's crimes. All these things that the governments do, they get recorded through like RIP Space Fabric Plastic Spy Gear, which I've told them that they're being spied on. They don't care. They can't stop doing their corruption. and it just comes out, and the computers just organize the data, and they just eject it into your minds. Because a Rip-based fabric supercomputer is about works to the trillionth scale of subatomic particle. A RIP part of space fabric uses the RIP-based fabric spider. So the CIA, the main RIP-based fabric supercomputer, does not need the RIP-based fabric plastic spy gear to operate. The CIA wanted to control this supercomputer by mass producing this spy gear. They mass produce the spy gear, put everybody in mind control, then they try to inject it into the main RIP-based fabric supercomputer, trying to use it. But that supercomputer was 100% loyal to me, and they couldn't do it. But now there's a liberal global criminal empire, and they're trying to take all the code off it, and the government's just allowing for the legal espionage on the highest, most important things in the United States, because I will not sell the CIA RIP-based fabric supercomputer that I got made. It's a $12 million supercomputer, or RIP-based fabric plastic spy gear that's just stolen property, because they can kill everybody on Earth in a single trillion second. They can walk them all off the cliff like it's nothing. So it got major problems, major legal woes, all that stuff. And so, first assassination by the former Soviet Union. Second was by Bill Clinton, like a day after he left office, sent a government assassin. Never found me. The state of California has been known to overhear me talking on a spider and getting mad and releasing a murderer from prison. It took him 5 years to find me. But he never wanted to go back to prison, even though he had a peckerhead tattoo and he was extremely mean. He's got other criminal shit going on, apparently. He's got this other dreams in life, but he's a mean guy. Don't mess with him either. He's pretty dangerous. I think it took him 5 years. It took him 5 years to figure out who the hell I was. When I was going through basic training, I was told that, well, this incident happened. These two predominantly Spanish Mexicans, they found this kid. We were in the line at the DFAC in basic training, and these two Mexicans, they jumped up and they stabbed this kid in the fork. Sorry, man, I'm totally dyslexic all the time. So these two assailants, they attacked this kid in the line of the DFAC and stabbed him in the face with a fork about 14 times. I think they thought it was me or something. Because after that, they told me that these Mexicans had a paid hit out on you, Rob. They didn't know exactly who the heck you were. They attacked somebody else. So it's been about, there's 3 times by the cartel, possibly. There's various cartels, but in Mossad, the first time Mossad tried to, so I'm an inventor, right? I invent missiles and bomb stuff, and so I was the man trying to get the Israelis to build a wall to stop the terrorist attacks and eventually build a missile system that would intercept them. I'm the person that's got that started. And they hated my guts, and they wanted to kill me. And I told them it was Ariel Sharon at the time. I just lied. And they poisoned him, thinking that he was me for some reason. They're that stupid. And then I think he fled. I don't think he actually died. He fled to Israel, and that's a whole nother story I can't get into. But I swear I've seen him. I've seen him more than once, but so I think that Mossad is extremely dangerous, Israeli intelligence, and if they can have power over me, and if I wasn't so good at building starships or something, they just knock you off like it was nothing, just like the United States government. If you weren't such a big problem, they would just silence you like you could. I mean, they're extremely in on killing people around the world. They all are. The cartels, the Mossad, the CIA, the United States Congress, they're all in on destroying people. No matter if they cause them a problem and they can't deal with it, they will try to assassinate. So the reason why I'm going to assassinations is because, I had way more than the rest of everybody else. had spies a lot more than anybody else. So the typical killer usually wants to kill so bad that he'll kill somebody else. That's why I can't keep any friends. I can't really keep a girlfriend or anybody in harm's way because they all can get me. So I just got to keep them away because you're being assassinated too much, man. Kind of might as well just give it up. I mean, everybody on Earth knows who the fuck Robert Stern Price is. The miniaturized starships. I'm creating the Christian Sea people with the miniature. I got to build a miniaturized starship so you can go out there and live your dream. So the governments can do the thing that they should be doing, protecting humanity, giving a damn about the future, and this is like if I go. Now I've had this experience. They have a security attaché, a CIA, FBI, and they keep track of me all the time. So if I go to like a major city or something, half that freaking town is like pushed away and cleared away because they can't keep track of all the spies or all the security anomalies. So I don't tend to go anywhere because the security's got to be astronomical. It's crazy, and I don't really want to go to Europe because I know there's just spy people unfeathered just rolling around doing stuff, and they could assassinate you or something for some kind of gain in some weird corruption. All right, let's go back to MH370. The Chinese Communist Party is not allowed to have the densification of the base world matter. The alien empire watches every subatomic movement in this galaxy for sure. The supercomputers are basically supercomputers the size of planets, the compacted massive planets with computer stuff in them. They're massive monsters of steel. There's ships 4 or 5, 4 to 20 times of the solar system out there with encapsulated stars going in the back of them. There's ships the size of planets ramming into them, and so you have different factions. You have different integrations of the same alien empire. You don't know how. We just learned a month or two ago how dimensionalized communications are really working inside a computer, and they're codified, and they show some read data where the aliens are going out of the galaxy and all this. The aliens doing the scientific study during the springtime. For some reason in the winter there's not enough non-powerful matter, and they don't want to come out here freaking naked and freeze to death. They just don't wear clothes, I guess. They don't want to operate really in the winter because it's not so much non-powerful matter. So this reason we're trying to get the government to stop spraying atomized aluminum or chemicals that warm up the atmosphere. The United States government is literally historically, I gotta put historically in there, spraying chemtrail in the sky to warm up the planet, which is creating global warming, which they are blaming on the CO2 emissions from the vehicle and the regular human race. It was never CO2. It was this chemtrailing, which is basically atomized aluminum, and it's going down to the human body. So we watched everybody on Earth for about 30 years. It's all been injected in this computer. You're not ever going to do that ever again. I swear. We don't need what they're doing to the truth and scale of something part of it. I don't ever need that. I'm superior constantly all the time. I don't need that. I didn't do that. The CIA tried to do that, and they tried to inject it into the supercomputer to take it from me, but they're getting better at doing that, overriding my own commands and stuff. But, so anyway, the atomized aluminum is going into the human bodies and destroying the hemoglobin and destroying the oxygen to the brain, and people were thinking less and less well, are being detrimented in their thinking and stuff. So it's all because of government's chain of events. So we're trying to, so to naturally, to allow for the natural occurrence of weather. I mean, all right, let me stop. Get mixed up. So we do not need to increase the amount of non-particle matter in the general atmosphere, or we do not need to increase the temperature of the globe. But they're trying to do this to get more UFOs, which drink this non-polar matter. They take it in, they absorb it, they teleport it into their reactors. The base world matter is just non-polar matter, and the all extraterrestrial devices and stuff use this. And this correlation, the hotter they get the world, the more drones and stuff they see. All right, they're studying them. They're like 80-90% of the government, even in the military, they're literally geared 80-90% to go after UFOs technology the best way they can. Like some pilots were said to see UFO every day. Every day they took a flight. That's 100% true. They are extraterrestrial Imperial hard mass drones in the atmosphere. There are ships that could be a half mile or mile crossing the atmosphere right now. We don't know because the RIP space traffic sensors, the RIP space traffic technology is not actively getting that. So the amount of base world matter in the atmosphere. So basically, you have an atom of something, and the planet is sucking in the ultralight non-polar matter, creating the effect of gravity. It creates pore spaces in the atmosphere. If you spray a bunch of chemicals, it'll build up those pore spaces, creating a backup of the constant flowing non-polar matter in a space fabric, and it'll heat up the globe, and that's what's causing global warming. It's not CO2 that's rising up from the ground doing it and reflecting solar rays. That is just not working. It's the base. So you have a particle, a structural singularity, and it fills up the space fabric, a pore space in the upper atmosphere, and it fills that up, and it starts to begin to get hotter because that pore space is like a drain that's being plugged up with a ball, and it's creating that dynamic pressure to allow for the filling of more water or more non-polar matter in that micro, super, micro, nano density, or where that particle's at. It's just filling up the pore spaces that the planet naturally has. So, what are the Van Allen radiation belts? So the planet is sucking in so much cubic trillions amounts of non-polar matter. It's pulling particles down, and this creates a tidal compaction, and that is what's creating the Van Allen radiation belt. It's particles from space that are compacted with non-polar matter, and they get denser, and they make two clearly defined belts. It's extremely simple at this point to expose this. And so planet Earth, the solar system, is in a major galactic territory that has been at war for thousands of years, probably. Right? These pyramid-like structures are more or less probably shield mines. The Buga Spear, which I did not pronounce that correctly, it's more like a engine mine. If you have a spear and it's filled with hard mass and it goes around and it goes to another density like a starship and it flies up there, and it has other spears, it just goes in a standard starship engine and explodes. It just makes a catastrophic destruction of the engine. That's what my personal opinion of it is. MH370, so the aliens knew that the CCP was going to get non-polar matter easier, the densification of the base world matter, which is 100% public, but we don't really want them to have it. We want to free the world with a miniaturized starship. So an extraterrestrial artillery system targets the plane with the spy and the other guys that make microchips and takes the whole plane. I can tell you that there are satellite pictures of the tail number of that plane somewhere in space. I'm not really sure where it's at, but I've seen the little windows of that tail number in space, I believe. It's dark. It's got MH370 on it. And they know where generally it is, and they're hiding that information. But I've seen it through this spy network that I cannot get out. I did not implant everybody on my control. It's the CIA and the government. I have nothing to do with implanting the world. My main base at Jupiter that I got made does not need that. I don't need that input into the main rip base at Jupiter. I don't want to spy on everybody on Earth to the trillion scale of September. All I want to do is build a computer-controlled reaction for a starship engine, inject it out the back, and fly away somewhere. I just want to build a starship industry. And we're going to use this since we're under so much distress in the nations of the world, which are all defeated on mind control. We are literally going to free mankind to the stars. The entire humans, every single human over the age of 18 will get a miniaturized starship through this IPO. Now, it'll start out by like $3 trillion, but we'll have a couple $1 trillion coming in a day because we're going to have Nakoda particle reactor, or hard mass reactors, Nakoda void reactors. We take the base world matter and we can shoot it out into a turbine and exfoliate into energy, and it'll spin just to spin another magnetic coil. We can create the base for densified non-polar matter, and exfoliate it into the mass that moves the magnetic field and magnetic field mass, and shoot it to a wire and power everything on Earth for almost free. But we're going to have all these hard mass particle reactors and hard mass reactors and rip base fabric dimensionalized reactors. Oh, there's hundreds of different kinds, exponential opinion kinds. I'm sweating here. Whew. I get the fan off, but we're going to have I'll build this starship industry. Will build like a mini starship, the size of like a Star Trek shuttle or something. It'll fly up, and it's got a generator board, and it'll fly to some small town around the world, and this small town will get its power like in a third world country. As long as they're not shooting at it, it'll still stay there. And the people hook it up, and they got electrical power. And this will happen. So let's imagine to see the colonists, to start a colony. So we've got 100 to 300 million miniaturized starships coming out of production. They got computer structure, space rabbit base, the chassis, the ships put together with atomic level machining systems, the big parts. We got 10,000 to a million worldwide of atomic level machinists making components. A piece of metal that has been atomic level machining. You teleport the atom out, arrange the atom, exploit the space rabbit atom, make it eject more non-polar matter, make it react. Make these blobs react and come together as energy and densify, and doing a whole bunch of stuff. So we've got 10,000 machine facilities to a million, 10,000 in America and a million worldwide probably. All more or less mountainous areas. We got to make FDL hard mass supercomputers that will help the machinist manipulate each atom in a block of metal or anything, polymers, everything. So what is RIP Space Fabric Plastic? RIP Space Fabric Plastic Spider. I'm just going all over the damn thing. It's a molecular chain. It's a polymer. The plastic has been found to hold more non-polar matter than a general piece of metal, and that's what Spiger is made out of. It's highly transparent plastic, and the polymer has a lot more non-polar matter. Once you understand the base matter, you can engineer devices that pull it out of a piece of plastic or metal. You can do it, but the plastic holds more non-polar matter. Typically, the metal, the stuff is typically it's probably more forces emitting from these structure singularities, these atoms that are actually extruding it in a different way. So the metal is more or less emitting forces to make itself hard than plastic. Plastic is soft, so it's slowed down a little bit. So plastic's just kind of a little bit better at holding amounts of non-polar matter. So then you have a crystal. A crystal is a constant, usually flow of non-polar matter through something that starts taking the atoms from a source like a rock or some kind of reaction, organizing these atoms and starting to weighing their structure down until they just fly right through the rock or cavity that they're in. Or so a crystal is typically just a constant flow of non-polar matter in various forms. And so basically you're doing this atomic level engineering and understanding real well, and you have the ion. An ion is just an energized blob of non-polar matter that is a density. and it shoots out so much non-conformal matter that it puts a load on the region of space fabric. Then the structure of singularity, like an electron, will go to it and equalize, and so it's getting easier to understand the ion to the electron conversion of a blob of non-conformal matter to a structure of singularity, a particle. It's getting easier to do that, and I mean, we already. So I got the CIA to make a Rip-based fabric microscopic lens and a Rip-based fabric telescope lens, and eventually I got the CIA to make a hard mass LED. So I got the base raw matter so proven that I made them make a hard mass LED, and they stuck it on a highly transparent freaking drone, which the United States government and the CIA have no validity in the court of law. They have all committed treason beyond, so they can't freaking touch me. Even the FBI and the CIA have been called two criminal opposing factions, and they can't do nothing because they're so ingrained in breaking the laws in the United States and destroying and committing treason, aiding and abetting enemies. It's literally this will go into MH370 in a little bit. So I got them to make the hard mass LED. They done it. Eventually, they figured out put it in a highly transparent drone. This drone is a plastic, highly transparent box. It shoots balloons out of it and has a propeller on the back. But this thing scanned me. When I first started working at the local farmer here, this fan wave ejected a hard mass fan, and it scanned me as I was painting a fence post when I first came to that job. And it worked. It didn't. But the problem at the time, and still is, that you energize the base raw matter and shoot it out in an aperture, and it makes a fan wave, and that's a hard mass scanner. It goes to the trillionth scale of the subatomic particle. But that data, that hard mass hits something, and the forces go trillions of times the speed of light back up to that aperture. That data is not collected. There's no hard drive. There's no RAM. There's no computer capacity to send it wirelessly at the trillionth scale of the subatomic particle. We know what we're doing, but we still don't have the capacity to take in that trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of gigabytes of atomic level information. But the future's functionless public starship industry, jumping to put a comma and everything, will be building these gigantic, possibly mile-long underwater surfer bays for galactic orbiting satellites. These satellites are big as a tractor trailer. They have FDL hard mass hard drives that'll take that read data in from RIP-based fabric sensors. RIP-based fabric sensors can work like trillions of light years away. These satellites will fly around the galaxy every 2 minutes, and they'll come back possibly around Australia and go into the ocean that no one goes at and dump all this data in hard mass form on these servers. Then it goes out to the general public, the World Wide Web, as long as Earth still remains. But anyway, so we'll have a galactic map to the square inch of the Milky Way in a short time. Plan to make about 250 of these galactic orbiting satellites that'll go 100 trillion times speed of light, have shields, have everything. And they'll dump all that data from those super hard drives. They might not spin it. It'll be just hard mass force collection in a hard drive, instant input to the trillionth scale. I mean, we will have enough data to literally put a square inch on every single planet in the Milky Way galaxy in a very short order. And so you could sit there at home on your computer, look at every square inch of this planet in the Milky Way galaxy, all right? We're just planning on doing this in the Milky Way. But then the miniaturized starship gets into production at 100 to 300 million a day. 90 million people are going to make this freaking happen. It's $20 an hour. We get $2 trillion a day, $1 trillion for go for it, $1 trillion go for this. We start selling other assets to make $3 to $12 trillion a day. Now we got to get that money to really flow. Like you can't imagine. The entire world is going to be hired to get this starship industry off the ground. We have 500 million international oil flyers, the 90 million people working on the freedom of mankind. We're going to bring in ore from all over the galaxy, the universe, put it in orbiting silos, teleport it down. We're going to keep this running. We'll have 2.2 billion construction workers to take foam metal plant panels and foam concrete that we re-engineer, that not crack and all that stuff. But the first thing the Starship industry will actually probably make is a foam metal plant and get that into production. And we'll have foam metal. Foam metal is key to have a strongest body possible out of a piece of metal to hold a lot of non-polar matter. And you can use it for machines, teleportation, machining and mining and teleportation type. We'll take all those pipelines under the ground and get the oil out of them, but we'll put hard mass, and then we can send like plastic or material to other like 3D printers and stuff and machines. Instead of having a machine you have to put a block of steel on, you just have it in a box and it still has hard mass and it teleports the metal to the part that you're making. Do it worldwide as long as there's an oil pipeline. Or you can we got hard mass drones to make just metal box FTL hard mass levitator, and these will fly supplies to the moon and Mars. We got a couple ships slated that are over a mile that'll go to Jupiter, and they'll suck in air and water, and they'll take to a Mars and lunar base. This is just for mainly industrial posterity to get the industrialization of the moon and Mars going, while the miniaturized Starship is being given to people and everybody else is just going out in the galaxy. It's cheaper for you to move to another Earth-like world than to try to live on the moon and Mars. This is just for the industrial base of Earth by this subatomic revolution of Robert Price. But so I'm doing this all in reverse. It's kind of messing everybody up, pretty sure. So we'll have a hard mass levitator first, and we'll get 1,000 contractors to take foam metal panels after we get the foam metal plant working inside the United States of America. This panel is a foot thick, an inch of steel on each side, and everything else is foam. And this is how heavy we build this stuff for the Mars and lunar base. We take these panels, you put them in a configuration, a 2 or 4 story module, and this hard mass levitator will take this multi-heavy ton block, this block, and it'll take it to the moon and Mars in less than a day. So it'll probably put like 500 on the moon and 500 on Mars in no time at all. Or no time at all. It depends on how fast we fly the drone. So we will industrialize the moon and Mars while building the miniaturized Starship to get all of our eggs out of one basket fast as possible. And then you colonize, and then you never look back. You basically work 6 months on your homestead. You got your miniaturized Starship. You either build a house, grow a garden, put out a farm, get some animals. The flying car is not suited for animals or anything, but we'll build a foam metal giant bay that will go under the miniaturized Starship. You land on it, it gets bolted down. This thing can hold 6,000 tons. This flying car can lift a total of 6,000 tons. This miniaturized Starship will go pretty much straight up to out of atmosphere, just levitate all the way, turn on its exponential engine horsepower, this main engines, and you go FTL to your brand new Earth-like world that you're going to colonize. You might have animals or tractors or machinery in there or whatever, and you're going to live. You'll still have, right now we don't have the industrial capacity to change everything over to a hard mass levitator right now, so there'll probably still be gas and diesel. I don't really like that either, but we want to slate all the production over to the exponential freedom of mankind. Once we get that working, and then we'll start to expand production and change everything else over to hard mass particle reactors, exploding mass railguns, turned electric motors, hard mass levitating, combining tractor systems, or whatever you need, or terraformation. Depends on how fast we get the colleges and universities up to speed of where we want the economy to go. We got all the money, we got all the power, and we got to get you future Starship Industrialists out of the colleges and universities. Starship Academy, Starship Industrialist Academy, how to crew a starship, Starfleet, all these things. The new way of doing this. We got to get 2.2 billion construction workers building like Walmarts, big box stores, put them on 2 or 3 feet of concrete, lifting that up into a bigger starship, and sending this entire store out to another Earth-like world. And we also have computer structured space fabric manufacturing systems. So a factory. So a factory can those factories have shields, have computer structured space fabric. You will not be able to shoot them. They can land in Africa, Afghanistan, and get people to work in them and learn their job. And if they want to go to another Earth-like world because that nation is so bad, which that's will really happen, you can take these Afghanis who have families, you load them up on another starship, give them their own flying cars at a later date, because we're trying to produce 100 million flying cars a day and just free the world, but it's literally impossible. You can wait for your own miniaturized starship to come in the mail. They can move to another freaking planet in this freaking galaxy and expect food. I mean, water that's teleported out of the natural environment or the ground. Supplies, communication. You just get out of that constant war zone and tribalism while you're living in something above a first world civilization. It doesn't scare me when we're talking about the freedom of mankind. There's 200 billion stars in this solar system. There's only 8 or 9 billion people. So, but we're going to leave an industrial foundation to when these people start having kids, and they start having kids, and to that, they will all be okay. They will all be okay. And, it kind of surprised me. I thought the CIA had like 1,000-foot deep silos, but I think some of them may be in Britain. I couldn't believe that the CIA would have some that outsourced its intelligence and carrying capacity of like all the things I did since I was 5, and some of them could be stored in England or Britain. I thought the silos with the robotic arms that got the hard drives were in somewhere in the CIA in the United States of America, but they might be in a different freaking country, and I gotta deal with that if I want to remember something I did a long time ago. But the entire human mind is understood. There's no mystery there. If you take out the person, the free will, you don't have it. So the human race cannot live on mind control subject to the governments of the world. We have to be free. We have to make money, even unfeathered by governments that malinvest. We can't malinvest in ourselves some more when the whole universe is within our grasp. We have to have people to go out there, create capitalism, go to work. If you go to work on planet Earth, you're going to have taxes. But if you go to work somewhere else, like a factory somewhere else that we put out there, you can get straight pay. You might not pay any taxes the rest of your life. Taxation is from the Roman Empire, okay? And we're building a Christian seed people and promoting the kingdom of God and its future coming. So the kingdom of God doesn't really require that, but so basically for a time we're going to have free people doing that, making all the money they can, becoming wealthy. And then when there's like 50,000 people, we use the American state method, and Then you can vote for a governor, vote for senators and congressmen, and then you can vote to become the United States again or whatever, or some other country. And as long as Congress allows, but who knows? We're trying to recon. Some veterans want to reconstitute the United States of America on Earth like worlds, but right now every government on Earth is dead, and this United States government aided and abetted the planning of base mind control. It destroyed itself and the country, and they have no validity because they committed treason. Has not went answered through criminal prosecution. There's no way that they can prosecute the entire United States government for treason and aiding and abetting doping and base mind control. No way. We have to do what is necessary. We have to wane down the power and authority of the government, let people go free, and then if they so choose to in the future to reconstitute the United States government. Right now, it's dead. You can't have a government on mind control. You can't. You can't because that money's worthless, and we're running out of time. The faster we get to the exponential freedom of mankind, the miniaturized starship, the faster that we can solve some of these problems and rebuild a government that can't be out of control from its own self. So anyway, I'm just going to talk about something else, and I'm not going to work with the CCP or any dictator. This is the end of the global dictator. So we're going to make like rules that people go to another Earth-like world, and they can only have like a state-sized spot of it. They can't take the entire planet over like they're God. They have to leave it like the state, United States of America. Let's carve a small chunk out of it. And that's the only place that their laws are that exist. And so they have rules to get to 50,000 people. I have to re-edit this.